What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy. Welcome back to another FPL video. In this one, I'm going to discuss the Premier League fixtures for the 2024-25 season that were announced this morning. We'll take a quick look at what the opening game week looks like, what the big six have in terms of opening 5 game weeks, and then take a look at the rest as well. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like. Hit that subscribe button if you're happy for some FPL content to be back. And let's get into it. So let's take a look at how things are going to start in game week 1. The season's going to kick off on Friday the 16th of August. So you've only got about 2 months to wait until the Premier League is back. And the first game you're going to get to watch is Man United versus Fulham. So not a bad opening day fixture for Man United. Obviously they were terrible last year and most of us didn't have Man United players for a lot of the season. But if they can get some players fit, if they can make some good signings, perhaps they will be a little bit better. I'm not expecting them to be quite as bad as last year, but I think there would have to be quite a bit of improvement for them to be in our FPL squads for a lot of next season. But also keep in mind that some players are probably due a bit of a price drop as well. So Garnacho will go up for sure, but players like Marcus Rashford will probably come down. And that happened before when he had a bad season. He came down to like 6.5, and all of a sudden he's incredible value. So my advice would be, bearing in mind FPL is not even live yet, don't write any players off until you see the full fixture list and their prices as well. Liverpool always seem to face a newly promoted side on the opening day of the season. That's happening again. They've got the 12:30 kickoff on Saturday the 17th of August against Ipswich away. So I'm already looking at that, thinking, yes, there's no Jurgen Klopp. It's Arne Slot instead. Liverpool might not be quite so good, but I still think Mo Salah's going to be in. So it's almost like Salah plus 14 players already. In terms of the other newly promoted sides, Southampton have got a tough game opening week against Newcastle away. So players like Isaac, Gordon, Newcastle defenders, we're definitely going to be looking at them. And then Leicester, who you would expect to be stronger than the newly promoted sides that came up last year, have got a tough opening game against Spurs. Now, to be fair, the way FPL have priced players the last few seasons, you haven't really had to worry about the prices of newly promoted teams because you've always been able to get players from stronger sides, but maybe that won't be the case this year. So I would say just don't write anyone off just yet. Few other matches to talk about. Chelsea have got Man City at home opening day, so that's a tough game for both of them. Obviously Chelsea also under new management as well. We know City are going to be strong. They're probably going to win the league again, but away to Chelsea first day, not ideal, and you probably wouldn't be looking to captain Harden, although I'm sure he'll still make it into our side. Just to run through the other games, Arsenal, who obviously ran City pretty close last year, incredibly strong, especially in defence, although their attack is not bad either. They've got Wolves at home. Everton are at home to Brighton. Brighton, another team that are going to be under new management. Forest against Bournemouth. West Ham versus Aston Villa at home. And Brentford have got Crystal Palace at home. Let's take a look at who the big six have got for the opening 5 games. So I've just mentioned that Man City have got Chelsea away in the opening game week, which is definitely a tough enough fixture. But in game week 2, they've got Ipswich at home. So already I'm putting my squad together. It's Salah, game week 1, Ipswich away, captain. And then game week 2, I'm going to want Haaland for captaincy against Ipswich at home. So already 2 premium setup looks pretty good. But a lot of it will depend on how all the players are priced. You know, options like Saka, for example, they are due to go up to like 9.5, 10 million in my opinion. And therefore, it might be quite difficult to build a side with 2 premiums. So if FPL get the player pricing right, there are going to be some difficult decisions. But we'll wait and see how that works out. After that, for City, it's West Ham away and Brentford at home. So the opening 4 games overall are pretty good, apart from Chelsea away in game week 1. But in game week 5, they do have Arsenal at home, which is going to be one of the toughest games they play all season. So we're almost certainly going to want someone like Haaland. But whether we put in like a Foden or a De Bruyne or a Man City defender, I'm not quite so sure they'll be as essential as the fixtures look. But again, it'll all come down to pricing. For Arsenal, bit of an easier game in game week 1, Wolves at home. Then they've got Villa away game week 2, Brighton at home game week 3, Spurs away game week 4, and then City away in game week 5. Which isn't ideal, right? 3 of your first games being away, 2 of them are Spurs and City, and then the other one is Aston Villa. It's not the easiest opening set of fixtures for Arsenal. Now, if they're going to play as good as they did last year, you may still want some of their players in your team, but it doesn't look like it's triple up worthy. And as good as the Arsenal defence were last year, probably the best in the league, their players are also due to go up in price. So like Gabriel and Saliba, in my opinion, should be like 6.5 million. And with 3 away games, all against sides that will definitely, you'd imagine, would score. I don't know, maybe we're ignoring Arsenal defence completely at the start of the year. Man United, who again, I'm sure a lot of people are going to write off based on last season, which is fair enough, actually don't have that bad of an opening set of fixtures. So Fulham at home, I already mentioned. Then it's Brighton away and Liverpool at home, which might not be the easiest games, but obviously Brighton again under new management. And then they've got Southampton away in game week 4 and Palace away game week 5. So again, there's a few away games in there, but they aren't as difficult as Arsenal. And I think the pricing for Man United players is going to be a lot kinder than it will be for Arsenal ones. So in terms of trying to find that value, Man United might actually be the slightly better option than Arsenal. I'm not sure if you'd want too many of their defenders, but possibly an attacker could be worth looking at. Liverpool, like I said, Ipswich away. Then they got Brentford at home, Man United away, then Forest at home and Bournemouth at home. I just don't see how we don't have probably at least 2 Liverpool players, maybe even 3. So Salah, Trent, maybe even Darwin Nunez. Who knows how the new manager will utilise him. Maybe he'll have his shooting boots on. I know a lot of us have been kind of like we never want to have Darwin in our teams again, basically. We've been burnt by him. That's what I'm trying to say. But who knows? Fresh season, new hope. You just never know, right? And if his price is right with those fixtures, that looks pretty good to me. Spurs, obviously, Son was in a lot of teams last year. Maddison not gone to the Euros with England, so he'll be fresh. Porro defensively as well, very attacking. Udogie, hopefully he can get back from his injury too. Leicester away opening day. So I think Leicester probably going to be the strongest of all 3 of the teams that came up. And away is never easy, but not a bad fixture for Spurs. Everton at home is okay, but then it's Newcastle away and Arsenal at home. So again, you're probably not loading up on Spurs players initially. And then Chelsea with that tough game against Man City, opening game week, have then got Wolves away, Palace at home, Bournemouth away and West Ham away. So not a terrible run of fixtures. Again, 3 away games in their first 5. I think all eyes will be on Cole Palmer. What will his price be? In my opinion, he should be at least 8.5, probably even slightly more. I mean, FPL are very careful with putting players up too much straight away, just in case they don't replicate what they did the previous season. But Palmer got, let me just have a quick look here. How many did he finish on? It was 244 points. That's absolutely ridiculous. You cannot price him lower than 8.5, in my opinion. We know he's on penalties. He's probably going to keep them next year. Unless they bring in some like big number 9 that definitely wants to take penalties, I think Palmer will be on them. His record is incredible. And it's just goals and assists from everywhere, right? So all eyes on what his price is. I'm always interested in Reece James if he can get fit, even though he never can. Probably not too many other options there. Nicholas Jackson, possibly. We know that Chelsea are going to make new signings, right? They always do. It's just about who they are and whether they're going to go straight into the team and perform. But I'm semi-interested to see how Chelsea do in pre-season, how they're set up, and obviously what the prices are, because those fixtures look pretty good. But Palmer, he's got to be expensive. He's just too good not to be. So I'm just going to go through the opening 5 game weeks for some of the other teams as well. I saw on the Opta Analyst website, they've already got a graphic put together which has all the teams listed from the worst opening fixtures down to the best. So Brentford, according to them and their team strength model, have the worst opening fixtures. Now, the first 3 game weeks aren't too bad, right? It's Palace at home opening game week, then Liverpool away, and then Southampton at home. So they do get to play a newly promoted side there. But when you look at it as the 5 games as a whole, they've then got City away and Spurs away. So in the opening 5 game weeks, Brentford have got to play all of Liverpool, City and Spurs, and they're all away from home. Now, I don't want to speculate too much about what our squads might look like right now. You could maybe argue that, you know, an Ivan Toney or an Mbeumo aren't too bad for the first 3 game weeks, then you could transfer them out. But it all depends on how the rest of the squad is set up, how many other transfers you're booking in. But Brentford look like probably an ignore for the most part. Then it's West Ham. They got Villa at home, Palace away, which isn't too bad, I guess, first 2 games. Another side, actually, that's under new management, right? Obviously, David Moyes has gone as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how all these new managers come in and do. Then it's City at home, Fulham away, and Chelsea at home. Obviously, Palace finished the season really well under Glasner last year, so playing them away from home is not ideal. Villa, Champions League this year, plus they've got to play City and Chelsea. Will probably mostly be avoiding West Ham, I would say. Ipswich are one of the new promoted sides, 3rd worst fixtures according to this. Liverpool at home, City away, which I already mentioned. Then it's Fulham at home, Brighton away, Southampton away. We're probably going to be ignoring Ipswich plays. In terms of the other teams that we would tend to target for FPL, Arsenal are in the bottom 4 for fixtures. Chelsea, bottom 6, and City, bottom 8, right? So they've all got some tough enough fixtures. We're not going to ignore them completely, but it might not be a case where we're tripling up on all of those teams. In terms of the best opening games, I already mentioned Liverpool, incredible. Ipswich away, Brentford at home, United away, Forest at home, Bournemouth at home. Newcastle, also very good. They got Southampton at home, again, already mentioned that. But then it's Bournemouth away, Spurs at home, Wolves away, and Fulham away. So I'm looking at those opening 5, thinking like Gordon, Isak. Like Isak's probably not going to go up massively in price. Although we did get, let me just double check here. I think he got like, was it 20? Did he hit 20 goals last year? He got close, didn't he? I think he might have gone over. Yeah, 21 goals, 4 assists. And he was, let me just check his starting price here. He started at, oh wait, let me go down to the start of the season, 7.5. So he's probably going to go up in price to like 8, maybe 8.5. And I think that would be fair because he is first choice for Newcastle. He's incredible. But that is a good opening set of fixtures. Southampton, 3rd best fixtures according to this. Newcastle away, tough opening day. But then it's Forest at home, Brentford away, Man United at home, and Ipswich at home. Again, are we going to be targeting Southampton players? If it's difficult to put together a Haaland Salah team plus, like, I don't know, one of Palmer and Isak or someone like that, maybe we will need cheaper players. But again, the way FPL price players these days, you can usually get like a 4.5 million defender from a pretty good team, so that you don't need to go down to the newly promoted sides. Fulham also in the top 5, so are Everton, who did pretty well overall under Sean Dyche last year. Obviously, they had those points deductions. Whether or not there's too many Everton players I would look at, possibly not, but it will all come down to their pricing. Calvert-Lewin is a forward that I like, who's probably going to be quite cheap if he can stay fit. And yeah, I think that's kind of about it. I don't know if there's a huge amount of other things to talk about. I'm conscious that, you know, we're 2 months away from the Premier League starting and we don't have FPL live, so we don't have the prices, because ultimately the fixtures do dictate a lot, if I can get my words out properly. Got to be careful there. But so do the prices as well. So for Arsenal, for example, you know, I've said they've got quite tough fixtures. If the players were kindly priced based on how good they were last year, you may still go for them. Just see if there's any other teams that are worth kind of... I feel like I should mention every team because otherwise people get frustrated, you miss them out. I guess Crystal Palace, given how good Elise, Eze and Mateta were last year, are going to be worth keeping an eye on. They got Brentford away opening game week, then West Ham at home, Chelsea away, Leicester at home, and Man United at home. So 3 home games. Look, Man United, based on last year, is not that difficult of a fixture. Palace will score in that game, and they get to play a newly promoted side in Leicester and West Ham at home. They could be worth looking at. And I'm not sure how FPL will price Eze and Elise, because it's not like they did it for the whole season. Obviously, that was partly due to injuries as well, and having Hodgson there before. I don't think they'll go up massively. So I think they will be of interest. Brighton, I think, not only do they have a new manager now, but we have to remember they were missing a lot of players through injury last year. Like Solly March and Matoma, who for a long time were the first choice left and right wingers. You know, they were injured for most of last season. So if they can get back fit for, during pre-season, they could definitely be worth a look. And we don't know how they're going to perform yet. Now it's not under De Zerbi, but that is a team that can attack. And they've got Everton away, United at home. Then Arsenal away, I guess, is tough. But in game weeks 4 and 5, it's Ipswich at home and Forest at home. So they're definitely going to be worth looking at as well. All right, I think I'm going to leave it there. There's only so much you can talk about with fixtures without having the player prices. Let me know what you think about that. Is there any players based on those fixtures you're already putting into your team? I mean, I just don't see how I don't have Salah and Haaland based on getting to play Ipswich. And look, Ipswich fans, it's nothing personal, but at some point you've got to target teams in the Premier League, and the newly promoted sides is usually a good place to start. If you've enjoyed that video, back to somewhat of an FPL bit of content, give it a like, hit that subscribe button. Plenty more to come once the game gets released. If you're playing the Euros game, the Euros content will continue throughout the tournament as well. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you again soon.